Hey guys, welcome. This is Gene Moves by Grant, and I would like to share with you some climbing progressions for horizontal climbing and also horizontal crawling progressions to balance out the push and the pull. So, if you're just a beginner and you're working on these climbing variations with pulling, horizontal plane, then you really want to work on getting your shoulders activated, pulling them back. And just start with, pulling yourself and stepping under a bar like this. And as you get better, you can then go into this kind of traverse motion where your feet are on the ground, but you're underneath, hip level bar. And you just walk up and down the bar using your hands to kind of pull you along. And as you get better at that, then you can do horizontal or lateral horizontal pulling and traversing while you're just leaning back like so. And you really want to keep those shoulder blades pulled back this entire time. You can play around with bent arms as well. And then eventually try to get your legs up. Just hold that position and work on your endurance. And as you get better, work on crossing one leg and then the opposite arm, coming down, opposite hand, opposite leg. And really slow it down so you can get the sequencing right. And you might play around with spinning around. That's a little bit more intermediate right here, but you're going laterally like this. You can put the bar on the back of your knees or onto the back of your calves and your ankles. And then, here are definitely some advanced variations of climbing horizontally, where you get onto your elbow pit and even onto your armpit sometimes. And you might swing your legs up like this, work on that strength of your arms and your lats, and swing back, swing onto the bar, catch yourself with your legs, and even try to catch yourself and hold yourself with your legs. And you might really want to be conscious of what's beneath you as you do a progression like this. So those are some variations you can do here that are really great. And, you might stretch out the shoulders afterwards and the back, just hanging onto the bar, sending the hips back, flossing through and breathing, taking time to breathe and relax. This is a nice underbar transition where you're still working on that strength, but in a dynamic motion. This next progression is, hanging from a taller bar and then just pulling yourself up using your core and getting your legs up onto the bar, holding for a moment, strengthening that position through the full range of motion, and also as you're hanging, both with your legs up and just hanging by your hands. And now we can also work on these rotational kind of traverses on a single bar and, work between rows, getting your legs up onto the bar, and then also working on different angles where your legs are hanging. That'll just really strengthen your whole core as well as your back into different ranges of motion. And this next part, we're going to the crawling. So it's really great to start with just the pattern of crawling. Use your hands and your knees if you can't get the opposite hand and opposite foot to land at the same time. And just press through your shoulder blades and push down into the ground, and then even push up from your feet. So pushing down with the ball of your foot. You can, over time, as you get better, just elevate your hips and keep engaging your core so that your knees stay in that straight line with your arms. There's different variations of crawling. You can go to different kind of hand, foot lengths and things, and I'll show another one later. But, you can just play around with strengthening yourself in these positions and, focus on the simple ones first, like just having your knees bent here like that and having your arms forward. And then as you get better, you can go on a narrow surface. So you might go on this board like so, and you might do one hand and then the foot rather than both at the same time. This way you can stabilize and then shift into the other, part of your body you're moving. So it's a little awkward doing it backwards, but it'll also strengthen you too. Then you can, if you're a beginner, you can work on the steps. You can just really take your time with getting that motion down and also using the assistance of less body weight into your arms by using the steps. And that way you can really build strength over time and work on the different ranges of motion, coming forward and backward, coming side to side, pushing the hips back here, dropping the knees. This is a good variation for learning the inverse crawl, going down and even up steps with the crab walk, inverse crawl. And then when you go on the ground, you'll notice it's definitely harder because you have to get more range of motion. So you might even start on your butt and kind of scooch along to build that strength in your back and your triceps and wrists. And then this one, I'm just coming down nice and controlled into that foot hand crawl position. And, you can really just start to shift weight into the shoulders and take weight out of the legs. But as you're doing so, you might notice you'll definitely need some hip mobility and some lower body mobility here. So this is the variation that I was talking about, where you have your foot outside of your hand, and it's a slightly different crawl and effect, and it'll definitely get into your hips in a new way. And then we can switch over from the foot hand crawl, the bear crawl, to the inverse crawl or crab walk. And that's really challenging for a lot of people because it's definitely switching underneath and rotating at the same time. So you got to take your time and just start mastering each crawl, and then you can get the transitions better. Start with, lifting one of 4 of your contact points of the ground, build strength in each of those positions, and then you can transition a lot more smoothly with control, with power, with speed, with balance, even with weight, or other kinds of challenges in the environment. Here, we're just pressing the legs up to a downward dog, back to that kind of crawling position. And here, we're just doing an assisted push-up, using that leg here to get down into a new push-up position. And we can do kind of wide-legged burpees here. That's another great exercise. And this next one we're going to do is bear crawl backwards up the steps. And this will really challenge you. I definitely recommend it only to people who are really advanced, who have a lot of good shoulder strength. And, take your time learning that. This one is kind of easy, intermediate, just spinning around. You can take your time on this one, and you can also plant both hands and kind of swing yourself around at the same time. Or you can do smaller, more methodical steps as you rotate. We can also work on that hip mobility here by kind of walking side to side like lizard positions, and you can drop the hips a little bit more than I do here, or you can keep them high. You can come to different widths again, kind of like I was showing earlier with the hands and the feet. You can come into a lateral kind of bear crawl here, where we place both hands out slightly to the right or left, and then lift our legs and swing our body over to the side. This is really fun, one of my favorites. And then, of course, as we have rows for the horizontal pulling plane, we have push-ups for the horizontal pushing plane. So just get creative, there's a lot of different ways you can do push-ups and rows. You can swing around from crawling positions in the middle of your push-up sets. I really like incorporating push-ups and crawling in the same kind of movement sequence. And then, rows with climbing motions in the same sequence. So try to hit all your angles, and maybe start from your knees if that's too challenging. Finally, we have kind of balancing and coordinating on top of some uneven surfaces or bars, with our crawls. So here we really want to connect the ball of the foot into the bar, and that'll help keep most control and awareness of just our most powerful part of our leg connecting with the bar. Definitely master the ground crawling before you go onto the bar, because you'll see, these are the same kind of patterns. The lateral crawl, this is kind of like an offset crawl with the hands on one bar and the feet on both bars. And then we can do that, even backwards. We can, maybe rotate around on the bars. We can maybe put both feet onto one bar and then both hands onto both bars. And at the end, you're going to see me put all of my contact points onto one bar, which is definitely a lot of balance, and you got to go really slow. So here we are, kind of spinning around a little bit, finding what works here. Both hands on the right bar, both feet on the left bar. And so again, as I was saying earlier, with this balance crawling and narrow surface to crawl on, really want to move hand and then foot. Hand, balance, foot. Hand, balance, foot. And, balancing between each position really well. That definitely got a lot of attention from the kiddo. And so, yeah, these are definitely a lot of challenging movements. I hope you can enjoy them. Maybe just start with simply doing inchworm movements, walking the hands forward and back, coming to stand, walking the feet forward and back. Stand up and have a great day. Get moving, my friends. And let me know how you like this tutorial and commentary, what you would like to see more of. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Love, vision, and strength. Peace out.